from SCNR.com. Biden apologizes for illegal migrant reference. I'm not going to treat any of these people with disrespect. I would have preferred a headline from that actually explicitly stated, apologizes for calling Laken Riley's murderer an illegal immigrant, making reference to him instead of calling. And I agree. Joe Biden, he went on MSNBC. For those that don't know, Laken Riley was a nursing student. She was going for a jog. An illegal immigrant allegedly approached her, in all likelihood to rape her. And when she fought back, he beat her so heavily, he crushed her, he disfigured her skull and killed her. I believe that Joe Biden was wrong to call this man illegal, and he was right to apologize. He was right to apologize for saying he shouldn't have called her an illegal. However, where he was wrong was when he said it's undocumented. No. He's also wrong about that. It's criminal alien. Criminal alien, rapist, and murderer would be apt. I'd be willing to say, fine, innocent until proven guilty. I hold those standards. So criminal alien should be sufficient because this guy is a criminal alien. Dave Smith had, I should actually pull up, I'm going to pull up Dave Smith's statement because it's too good. Dave Smith, we had him on just last week. Let me pull up his post here.
Yeah, I'm going to say that I object to the term undocumented here because it was documented that he was in the country illegally. Like that was a fact. They know that for sure.
Right. It's paper trail.
He's undocumented in the sense that he's not paying taxes. He is a documented illegal immigrant or illegal alien, really.
He's untaxworthy.
From at comic Dave Smith. I don't know what better sums up the modern American progressive establishment than this. Apologizing to the murderer for calling him an illegal immigrant rather than undocumented, with no thought of apologizing to the girl who was murdered for getting her actual name wrong.
And in
that is the country you live in. Sorry.
Oh, no, sorry. Because that was also the same speech, the State of the Union, in which what happened, we saw the Gold Star father of Lance Corporal Kareem Nakui, the father Steve Nakui, stands up and starts yelling about the 13 killed and Abby Gate. And we saw how Biden treated the families when the bodies were still warm, basically, and they were being flown over for their dignified transfer at Dover, looking at his watch, not caring, talking about only himself to the widows, a pregnant widow, one of them as well. And the father gets arrested, put in handcuffs, and charged by Capitol Hill police for heckling Biden. So same speech, right? Just as you're saying. He does that to the father, and then he, he's very cruel to the family of Laken Riley as well.
I wouldn't put it on Biden that the Gold Star father got arrested because Biden was speaking as they did it.
True.
But I will put it on Biden for not immediately intervening.
Exactly.
And saying, are you out of your mind? For sheer political reasons. Like, do you have any idea how bad this is going to be for me in my reelection? Don't arrest the Gold Star father. But I also read that he lost his son and then his other son committed suicide. Yeah. Is that true? That's.
I believe it was those two. Yeah, it was the saddest thing ever. Just the fallout of everything that's happened.
But committed suicide at the memorial for his dead brother.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And obviously none of it had to happen. Obviously Biden pushing back the timelines and all that. But even more direct is that one of the Marines had identified the suspect, the guy with the bomb vest, could have shot the guy. He asked for the higher ups to give him the permission to shoot, and they refused. Even though he had the suspect identified, he's like, you told me to look for this guy standing next to this specific person with this bag. They said no, and then within minutes the bomb blast goes off. The 13 are killed. Hundreds of Afghan civilians were killed, and the Marine who almost could have taken the guy out and saved the lives, I believe lost 2 or 3 limbs.
The Biden administration is so bad in terms of apologizing to the alleged murderer, in terms of dead soldiers, failing economy, corporate lies. The only logical conspiracy theory, and it is not that the deep state is trying to win. I'm sorry, that's not it. You can argue that the deep state is going to rig the election so that Joe Biden wins. That's not the conspiracy theory. It is so bad. It is abject bad to the point where the only conspiracy theory is they're trying to get Trump to win, and they've been pretending like they don't like him when they love him the whole time.
Yeah, that part is scary. I also think the Biden administration is a perfect reflection of how rotten the left has become. Because thinking about this in the language, it reminds me of how they reacted in the media or in politics on the left after the trans shooter in Nashville. We got to get the pronouns right? We got to talk about trans people, not about the dead kids, right?
Concerts too.
Right. Totally
Benefit
insane.
concerts.
So if you look at it as depraved as this is, if you look at it through that lens of everything that is good is bad and bad and good, this unfortunately makes sense.
The Haiti thing, right? Haiti is great already, says Conan O'Brien. Look, normally we say, that guy bent himself backwards trying to justify blah, blah, blah. Oh, these people took their spines right out. Well, because they didn't have them in the first place. So they went into their closet to figure out where their spine was. And they twisted it into a pretzel just to hate Donald Trump. Haiti is not a good place. Do not go there. I'm sorry. It's just, there's a cannibal in charge. And when Trump is like, man, this country's an ishhole, they're like, no, it's not. It's actually really nice.
My very expensive guarded resort was nice. I had no contact with actual people who lived there, but I will tell you that I liked it. I had a good time. Like it's delusional. It's completely separated. And to me, I think obviously that it makes sense to prioritize American aims and American people over, international intervention. But if you're a progressive who thinks that you need to be involved in international affairs and step in, you saying, no, Haiti's great right now is actually doing a disservice to everyone there. Haiti is not great right now.
Look, I don't get it. But Biden announces they're building a port in Gaza. And I'm like, is he trying to lose? Is the real conspiracy theory that they're trying to get us to beg for an authoritarian crackdown? Like the establishment has always secretly wanted a strong nationalist movement, but they couldn't figure out how to get it because people were always just anti-establishment. So they were like, the only way to get it to happen is if the establishment hates the country, and then people will start attacking the establishment and defending the ideals of America. Well, here we are.
Yeah, it could also be just to make him look so bad that they can get him out and replace him with an even worse but slicker guy.
It's been years,
like
dude. It's been years.
I know. Yeah,
I mean,
it was scary.
What was it like? 2021? When was it? When was it? Afghanistan withdrawal? How many years ago was that? Was it
2021?
2021 August, right?
That's already memory hold. Like a lot of people don't even think about that. Like that footage is insane. That's horrific stuff. And then thinking about like sending aid, like we were saying, I just think about how we sent aid to Puerto Rico and what happened to that. That was all just like absorbed by corrupt politicians.
Oh yeah, and
almost all of it.
Stories of like big, massive piles of water bottles just sealed and
left in the middle of the woods. And then all those, the governor or someone took all the lumber in a warehouse. I think they're in jail now. And they were giving Trump trash. They're trashing him for that.
For throwing paper towels.
Like it was his fault.
Trump was throwing the paper towels and they got mad at him for it.
And the Haiti thing's just another weird conflict between Trump and Clinton, really. If the Clintons have all this history with Haiti and then destroying it, and Trump saying it's a bad place.
It's like the Midas touch, but for human... I don't want to swear, so...
Yeah.
But, it's like whatever the Clintons touch turns to fecal matter. There you go. We're family friendly here. It's a little gross.
Everything they touch turns to streets full of cannibals.
Oh, jeez.
That's the Clintons' wedge.
It's wild when the story breaks because I started looking into it, and there's people posting online back in 2017 being like, this cannibal gang leader is eating people.
Yeah.
And Trump 2018's like, wow, what an awful country. And they're like, no, it isn't. Listen, Conan O'Brien went to Haiti when there was a cannibal eating people, a gang leader, and they mercilessly they capture cops and then beat them and film it. And Conan O'Brien was like, this is totally fine. Mm-hmm. And there's no way. When Conan O'Brien decided to go to Haiti, you know that at the time, was it NBC or was it TBS? I think TBS.
That was
right?
Probably TBS. Yeah.
I guarantee you, the insurance company required hostile environment training for Conan. I do not believe any company would allow him to enter Haiti without hostile environment training, unless he went with a heavily armored and armed detail and received a security brief. Because I have gone to lesser, like when I was working for Vice, Venezuela was having riots, security brief. When I was working for ABC, we went to Ferguson. It's a very suburb of St. Louis. I'm like, I could drive there from my home from Chicago in a couple hours, and we had to get a security brief, and they wanted everybody. I believe everyone there had to receive some form of hostile environment training, which they made us go through. And I was laughing. I was like, guys, the hostile environment training is rudimentary. I've done this for 3 years already, and they were like, well, you got to do it. It's insurance. There's no way Conan O'Brien was able to go there, and he did not know what was going on. Because whenever I would go somewhere, they'd say, here are your danger points. Here's what to look out for. They would say things like, okay, so this place is known for this kind of crime. When I went to Venezuela, they said, okay, don't use ATMs. This place is well known for express kidnappings, meaning if you are about to approach an ATM, guys jump out of a car, they grab you, throw you, they make you pull money out, throw you in the car, drive you around until they drain your accounts, and then they're actually kind of nice. They'll give you a ride wherever you want to go. So it's actually a really funny story.
It's like a weird taxi service.
After they're done robbing you, so the story I've heard is that they tell you you're being kidnapped, take your money out, give us your money and come with us. And then they talk to you in the car, like, where are you from? You know, what are you doing if you speak Spanish, or, you know, if they speak English? And then what? French. In Venezuela? Oh, yeah, in Venezuela. And then what happens is they'll take you to ATMs to try and get as much money out as possible. And then afterwards they ask you where you want to be dropped off.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so like, we'll give you a ride wherever you want to go. We'll drop you off.
Please give me a good rating on Uber.
And moral of the story, Conan O'Brien went to Haiti with a full security detail, knowing how bad it was, to lie to the American people because they hate Trump so much, they would crack their spines into pretzels.
I'm curious.
Just to hate Trump.
I'd like to see his remote footage from that. And I'm curious if there's anything negative in it. Like, you know, like in this part we can't go because blah, 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 blah. Or if it's completely deceptively edited the way Jon Stewart would deceptively edit an interview with a politician to make him look bad. This would be the opposite, deceptively edit Haiti to make it look really good. As I actually am a fan of Conan's. I love his remotes. But it's funny to think of it in this context.
Trump had insulted Haiti in the Oval Office. The president asked, quote,
I
why are we having all these people from shithole countries come here, referring to African countries and Haiti? The president then went on to talk about how they needed to bring in more people from places like Norway.
Now, I have no idea what the president has against the people of Haiti, but if the president doesn't like them, they must be lovely people.
Oh, so Conan loves cannibals.
Well, he didn't have barbecue on his show, so how good could he be?
This is the important distinction right now to make. Trump said it's an actual country. He did not say the people of this country are bad. The country is bad because their leadership is in chaos.
Right.
Conan O'Brien doesn't care about context. They must be lovely people. Well, if he's taking Trump's words in full context, he's talking about a country that is bad, which is its government, and Trump is correct. And he thinks they're lovely people. I don't want to go through the whole thing. But, you know,
While I was in Haiti, I visited the École Nouvelle Zoranger, a school that serves some of the poorest children living in Port-au-Prince.
So basically, he goes on a Potemkin tour of Haiti, showing nice, secure things and having a good time, which you can do anywhere.
So true.
This is what people don't realize. If you watch this show consistently, you've heard it a million times. When I was in Egypt, McDonald's was 2 blocks away from Tahrir Square, and a guy was eating cheeseburgers watching soccer.
Right.
You'd have no idea that a revolution just took place.
Right.
And here you go.
There's nothing bad in it.
He goes to a school and he meets a bunch of kids.
Right.
I guarantee you, he's riding around in this van. Conan O'Brien, a multi-millionaire American who is 6'6", 6'7",
tall.
super tall, with bright red hair, sticks out like a sore thumb. He had armed guards probably in multiple levels surrounding his vehicle. There's no way TBS would not give him a security detail. Anyway, instead of prattling on about the Haiti thing over and over and over again, the point is this. Biden would rather apologize to the criminal alien murderer than to the family he insulted. And that's what Conan and the Democrats represent when they're saying, if Trump said it, it must be the opposite. They know they're lying. They know they're lying. So come November, ask yourself which country you would rather live in. An America that is inspired by El Salvador, which turned things around, or an America that's inspired by Haiti, which devolves into cannibal gang leaders eating people.
I want to live in the country where the president can correctly say the name of the woman who died at the hands, allegedly, of an illegal immigrant who they knew was here illegally. Mm-hmm. And that was it. I mean, this is the other thing is like Laken Riley is a really tragic story. It's incredibly sad, but there have been like 4 other reports in the last 5 days of people who have died because of, illegal immigrants, car crashes involving illegal immigrants who shouldn't have been here. There was a cop in Washington who was killed by an illegal immigrant. Like this goes on and on and on. And I think it's good that we know who Laken Riley is. We think it's good we know her story. On the other hand, the fact that there are so many all the time tells you that this is a problem the Biden administration is just trying to sweep under the rug.
Also, because illegal immigration is something, because since I'm native to Southern California, that's where I was born and raised. One thing I realized, so growing up, most of the kids were, were Hispanic, but many of them were illegal, and they would openly talk about it. Like in high school, they would do their book reports basically on my grandma crossed the border illegally, and I'm proud of that. Or they'll say, I myself came over illegally. Wow. Maybe they're just trying to play it up. I don't know. But it's something that does actually intersect with my life. I've had loved ones who've been in car accidents, and maybe the cops were wrong on this, but at the time they told them, there's nothing we can do. The guy who hit you and caused a massive pileup of 3 or 4 other cars, well, he's illegal. So we're going to let him completely go. No insurance. The insurance is going to come from you guys, even though you're all the victims. I know people also who live in the area of who they've had their houses ransacked. They come home from vacation, everything from their family's gone, the antiques, the jewelry. And when the cops come, they investigate and they go, ooh, looks like it's MS-13 related, and we'll counsel you to just not go much further on this, to kind of let it go, get insurance involved, and just kind of leave it at that. Because if you pursue further and we start to basically poke at the hornet's nest, you don't want MS-13 coming back to kill you next time. And so it's actually a real live wire of an issue, like you said, on the roads, when it comes to crime, when it comes to all of these other issues. And one thing, as you talked about the Washington State trooper, he was out looking for DUI cases on the side of the road, and unfortunately one found him, and that man was here illegally. But the local news first reported him as Linwood Man. Same thing as Laken Riley's alleged murderer, Athens Man, right? Because they don't want you to know. And I guess tying it back to what we were talking about earlier with Haiti and El Salvador and all the rest, is that the left will gaslight you and lie, because a nation like Haiti, unfortunately, the way it's been ruled, or maybe the absence of rule, and hence why the anarchy, but it allows itself in some ways, and I don't mean allow in an active sense, because many of this is being done to them, and there's really no single person in charge to be held at fault for it, but they basically get raped, like you said, by the Clintons and other global groups. So they'll look at you with a straight face and say, this is the most beautiful, wonderful, highly functioning nation on earth. El Salvador, Bukele, can show you, well, I cleaned up crime by doing the opposite of what you do, and they'll look at you, authoritarian autocrat. They do the same with Ukraine. Zelensky can govern the nation just like Putin does in Russia, but one's democracy and the other isn't. And a lot of it just comes from because there's a lot of powerful interests as well. And so that also is the lie, because they know what their friends say. They know their friends make money through these groups. So then they just go out and they just help their friends.
I think one of the seeds of the collapse of society is like the way they've destroyed language. So they redefine anything to then call you, but it doesn't even say the same definition, because the definitions are so malleable. They just keep, today it's this, today it's that, tomorrow it's that. And that makes it hard to have a cohesive society.
And that's why you can't, one thing I talk about on my show is that oftentimes with the left, though I'm sure people on the right can be, it's a human issue, so I'll admit that, people on the right and left, but you see it a lot on the left. It's more, you have to understand what their goal is, what their predetermined conclusion is, because if you get too bogged down on marketplace of ideas, let's just debate, well, not everyone wants to debate in good faith, because if someone wants X and they don't care what the truth is because X benefits and behooves them, they'll use any argument. They'll shuffle that board until you're confused, going, wait, you said this, now you're saying that, I'm confused. We're all contradicting ourselves, because they still just want X to be true. So you have to make sure when you're arguing with someone, does the truth matter to you? Or is that what you're after? If not, then.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.